Digital is the future. So good morning again. Good afternoon. I mean, we're literally standing between you and dinner. So we promise we'll keep this very interesting, and I'm very excited because actually we're going to talk about the single most important and most exciting thing in the entire agricultural space, which is innovation and technology. And this is really the solution, and it's something which we all, I think, agree should look into. And I wanted to start with this gentleman. So who knows who he is? Please. Bill Gates, of course. And who is Bill Gates? The founder of Microsoft. What else? A philanthropist. Who else? What else? Visionary. Exactly, but not only. He's a visionary, he's a philanthropist, he's an investor. He is actually the biggest farm owner in the US. He's the biggest farm owner. He owns a lot of acres. And I do not think this is a coincidence. I think this is on purpose. If a visionary, a Silicon Valley guy, the founder of Microsoft, is investing in agriculture, I believe this is because he believes that agriculture is a field worth investing in technology and in innovation, correct? But agriculture is really not just another sector. It's a very complex sector because, first of all, farmers are working to get food to their own families, and they are working to get food to the world. So when they think about innovation, they think about something which can actually be useful very concretely. You might have heard of this expression, betting the farm. You know, in the case of the farmers, every time they decide to invest or not invest, they are actually betting the farm. They may actually lose everything if they do the wrong thing. So I was hearing this morning a debate on whether farmers are innovators or not, or risk adverse. I think they are risk adverse for good reasons, but I think they're also innovators because innovation is at the core of what they do. Agriculture has been there forever. For many years, it was the only way of actually getting food. And it was hard work, it was difficult, it was complex. But then innovation came. And when we look at the things that happened since the 1800s, all this is innovation, right? The reaper, the thresher, the automobile that was applied to the farm, the tractor, the hydraulic engine, all these things actually made it easier for farmers to do their jobs. And so they can grow more food. It's still very tough, very complex, but innovation is there. And so I am convinced that farmers and the agricultural sector is by definition an innovative sector, because those farmers who don't follow, they go out of business. As simple as that. So this is what we're going to talk about this afternoon. But it's more complex than that because, you know, we discussed agriculture is the sector that feeds the world. It's about, you know, doing the right investments. But we also know that the situation is very complex because the world's hunger is going up, right? People are hungry, even though we never produce more food than today. But not everybody is hungry. The people that are hungry are mainly those in net food importer countries, in places like Africa, for example, or some places in Asia, right? So these are the people who need the technology to grow more food. And at the same time, these are the countries and the people more affected by climate change, because as you can see, climate change is decreasing yields in the agricultural sector in many countries that are actually net food importers. So complex, right? And by the way, these countries that are hungry and that are suffering from climate change are not the ones who cause climate change. So what do we do about all this? And here is where innovation, technology comes into play, because there is this old saying, when complicated, keep it simple. And the way of keeping it simple is to adapt the technology and the innovation to actually meet the needs of the farmers worldwide. And the needs of the farmers may not be the same in Europe as in Africa, but they are still important technological needs. And so what is it that we need from innovation? It's not just any innovation. We need sustainable productivity growth. We need more productivity per acres, and we need climate resilience. So this is what technology should achieve. And so the future may look like this. It's actually the present more than the future. We have drones that act as little pollinators. We have apps that allow farmers to know what's coming, to basically know the future. We have robots that lend a hand in the farming. So all this is bringing change. So the question is, how do we ensure that whatever innovation we promote is actually what farmers need? And I wanted to give you just some very concrete examples of what my company is doing in this field. So I work for a company called FMC. We are an agricultural sciences company. So we are basically an innovation and R&D company. So we are convinced that we have the capability to support farmers to become economically more sustainable, but also to become environmentally more sustainable. But we are also convinced that we cannot do this alone. Nobody can do this alone. Not even Bill Gates can do this alone. So we have, for example, a venture capital arm that is called FMC Venture that actually works with startups and early seed stage companies that are doing amazing things in the field of agriculture. And I could talk about this longer, but I don't know how long I have, but I will not. But there are some examples, for example, the work with pheromones. So pheromones are these naturally occurring components that female insects issue in order to tell male insect that they are available for reproduction. And this goes, I don't know if any of you were this morning at the presentation of Augustus when he asked the question, is sex sustainable? Well, in this case, sex is not sustainable because these insects that are harmful for the crops are, they continue reproducing. So pheromones actually trick them into thinking that there are females looking for reproduction when they are not, so they don't reproduce. And so this is a very sustainable way of controlling pests because they just don't reproduce. And because it's so targeted, it doesn't affect the biodiversity, it doesn't affect the bees or other good insects that are out there. And by the way, this work is very important because FAO has assessed that 40% of crops around the world are lost to pests. So important. Then we're doing many other things with amazing companies on micropeptides that are also biological ways of controlling some herbs. It's for crops that actually have become resistant to synthetic herbicides. But also we have to think about access, because access it's really a problem. Smallholder farmers do not necessarily have the access to finance which allow them to access technology. So we are working with an amazing fintech company called Thrive in Brazil, who's actually looking into ways of assessing the needs of farmers using artificial intelligence and very complex stuff that actually allows them to get access to this credit without going into the regular financial system that will look at their credit score and basically say, no way, we're not lending you money. So we're doing a pilot in Brazil to help them access this technology. And other things, for example, well, when we talk about, and I think we will have some of the speakers today probably talking a lot more about digital. So we have a technology called ARC, which basically uses artificial intelligence and data science to predict the future. So it allows farmers to know what's coming in terms of pests up to a week in advance, so they can know exactly what type of inputs they need to apply. So this saves inputs, water, protects the soils, and of course saves them money. So these are some of the things that are out there, but I think it would be very, very interesting to hear about all these things from all the speakers and your questions, because there is a lot to be done in terms of innovation and technology to actually help farmers produce more using less. So I look forward to the discussion. Thank you very much.